So I've got a confession here. My pitching career in organized baseball was exactly 1 inning in Little League. I had a zero ready to go, got a bases loaded pop up to center field that our center fielder completely whiffed on, so I allowed 3 runs. And that is my pitching resume. I want you to keep that in mind whenever I start mansplaining Paul Skenes' pitch mix and how maybe it could use a tweak. Should be fun. Good morning and welcome to OffBeat here on North Shore 9 presented by FanDuel. My name is Alex Stumpf. This is a daily look at your Pittsburgh Pirates. Paul Skenes is going to be on the bump today, and he's going to be trying to flush a rare miss against the Cardinals. The Cardinals are the one team that basically has had his number in his major league career, so maybe it's not worth looking into it any more than that, but this is a good Diamondbacks team, good lineup, in my opinion. This is a moment where Paul Skenes can flush and just put that last start behind him and go back to being Paul Skenes. We have seen it how many times where he just comes in, shoves, and that's it. It's a different looking Paul Skenes this year, though. And a lot of that has to do with the pitch mix. Paul Skenes, every month of his major league career, outside of September 2024, where his starts by the end were just a couple innings and, it was funky. Every month of his career has thrown his changeup more and more and more. And it got to the point that last start against the Cardinals, he threw that changeup more than any other pitch in his arsenal. 35% of his pitches this year have been four-seam fastball. 19% have been a changeup. That's more than the sweeper. That's more than his splinker. That's more than his sinker. That's a hell of a lot more than his curveball so far. And I'll get to the curveball here in a second, but I just want to focus on the changeup, a pitch that he is primarily throwing to left-handers, as most teams or most pitchers do, but will throw the right-on-right changeup as well. Is it the best pitch for him, though? Because, like, the splinker, I know it hasn't been as... The 2024 splinker was the best version of the pitch. I think whenever he added a sinker, a dedicated sinker, the splinker wasn't quite as sharp. And I say that just at the point that, like, the splinker in 2024 was one of the best pitches that I've ever seen. And then last year, it was just really good. And this year, it's just really good, in my opinion. But in 2024, he was throwing it differently. The splinker, in his mind, it was a sinker first. He was using it mostly as a sinker fastball instead of an off-speed pitch in the way that he was deploying it. And this year, it seems like it's more the off-speed pitch, which makes sense because he has a dedicated sinker now. But he is attacking with off-speed stuff a whole lot more. It goes fastball and then off-speed. While we're not seeing a lot of sweepers, we aren't seeing as many sliders. I don't know if he's thrown a dedicated gyro slider this year. The curveball, I was kind of excited for coming into the year because it had a new movement profile. And I'm like, okay, this is a pitch that could play. This is a pitch that is going to tunnel off of the four-seamer. Just have that drop to go along with it. And he's thrown it 2% of the time. He hasn't thrown a curveball to a right-hander all year. And it was something that I believe it was after his first or second home start where I asked him, just one-on-one, like, are we going to see the curves? Is he like, yeah, we'll see them. They'll be coming. And I kind of thought this Cardinals start would be a good opportunity because he'd pulled that trick on the Cardinals before. And it didn't really happen. He just hasn't thrown them this year. And one of the things that made Paul Skenes so tough to game plan for, especially in 2024, was you didn't really know what he was going to throw at you that day. Like, yeah, you were going to see the four seamer, you're going to see the splinker, but he had a tendency to just let a different pitch occasionally be the hero of the game. Like, he had a game against St. Louis in 24 where he just went off with curveballs. He had games where he would just, here come a whole lot of sliders. Here comes a slider that's more of a sweeper. We recognize it now as a sweeper, but at the time it was still just one slider. Uh, he would let his whole pitch arsenal play. And I remember having a conversation uh, in 2025 with a source where it's like, you know what? If I had that splinker and I threw 100, I wouldn't bother with a third pitch. I would just do that. And in a way, not saying he's just doing that, but maybe he's a little more like that right now, where he's going fastball off speed. And it's a little less, east to west stuff with the sweeper and the slider, and a little less up down with the curve. It's obviously effective. The ERA sits at 3.18 right now, but we know that's artificially inflated because of that first start. He has been on a roll. He was on a really good roll before St. Louis came to town. He has this tendency to every once in a while just go like 4 or 5 starts where every start's like 7 innings, 1 run. And you're like, well, yeah, that's just Paul Skenes locking in. But I can't help but feel like maybe if we saw a little more of that 2024 Paul Skenes, where it's like we're emphasizing bite downwards, having movement that could go not only north south but east west. Right now, it just feels like he has become a lot more of a fastball changeup pitcher. And if he feels comfortable with the changeup against left-handers, if that was just pretty much the discussion, I don't think I'd be dedicated a podcast to this, but it's the changeups that he's also throwing right on right. We're not seeing splinkers right on right. We're not seeing the splitter. It will be pretty much just the changeup if he ever does try to get that, change the tempo on the right-handed hitters. We'll still see some breaking stuff against right-handers, not a whole lot against left-handers, though. So it is an interesting point where you think, is this the ideal pitch mix for Paul Skenes? Does it really matter? Because the stuff by itself, look, if he went out there and he threw 100 four-seam fastballs, I believe it would be a quality start at the end of the day. If he just Steven Braulted it and just went off that way, he could probably have a really good start still. But that best version of himself, that guy that won the Cy Young last year, and I came into the year like, yeah, he'll probably be even better in 2026. I think that guy uses his full pitch arsenal more than what we have seen so far. Go to throw it over to Cody for a minute and 24 seconds. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack hydration sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are the delicious, low-sugar, brain and body fuel you need to win your day. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way for you to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. All IQ Bar products are clean label certified and entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial ingredients. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. The Ultimate Sampler Pack includes all 3. My personal favorites so far have been the almond butter chip and the iced tea lemonade hydration mix. It's just really full of flavor. I love starting my day with it, and I couldn't imagine starting my day with anything else other than IQ Bar products. Right now, IQ Bar is offering our podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the Ultimate Sampler Pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text MLB to 64,000. That's MLB 64000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
Paul Skenes said after that start against the Cardinals that the changeup felt good. And he revealed in that start also that, yeah, he didn't feel like he had the best command on everything in his first couple innings, and the Cardinals took advantage of it. And that's one reason why, okay, that start was a lot of changeups. And if the changeup has become a security blanket, that could be good. It doesn't all have to be high 90s fastballs and splinkers. That's not what I'm arguing here. Actually, I'm arguing quite the opposite. That the sweeper is an effective tool. I don't think I've seen enough of it in 2-strike counts. I don't wish I probably should have had the data in front of me. I don't think he is throwing that as much on 2-strike counts. It's less of a put away pitch. Four-seamer, yeah, he can ride it up, and if you could have a pitch that drops a little bit with a different velocity, then yeah, that's going to be an effective pitch. But a lot of pitches can play off of that. The curveball can play off of that. The gyro slider can play off of that. There's just this version of Paul Skenes where he's delivering 6 or 7 different pitches that I don't think anyone in the league can compare to. Paul Skenes' ceiling is the best pitcher in baseball. And while he has been really good so far, he hasn't been the best pitcher so far. And a lot of that is due to, the first start in New York, where there are circumstances beyond his control. And if O'Neal Cruz catches a couple balls, or even one of those balls, maybe it's a completely different start. We've seen him right the ship. Maybe he goes 5 innings and there is no ripple effect for a couple other starts like we saw against Cincinnati and beyond. So I'm not saying he's performing poorly. I'm just saying that there is a greater version of Paul Skenes in there. And that's coming from the guy who has a little league ERA of 27. It feels weird to tell Paul Skenes, or suggest, I'm not telling, I'm suggesting that there is a better version of himself in there. In the 1926 World Series, Grover Cleveland Alexander came out of the bullpen and had an it was a big at bat in the game, and he laid out to his manager, like, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna throw a breaking pitch. He's gonna swing through it. Then I'm gonna throw a fastball. He's gonna hit it hard, but he's gonna hit it foul. And then I'm gonna get him with another breaking pitch. And the manager just goes, "Who the hell am I to tell you about pitching?" I am having a "who the hell am I to tell Paul Skenes how to pitch" moment. I wholeheartedly understand and accept that. But I'm still hitting with a but. That's how you double down on a podcast. Still hitting with the but. If the fastball is going to attack high in the zone and the changeup is going to attack at the very bottom of the zone, there is a whole strike zone that is not getting filled up as much as it probably could. And if he wants to be that best self, that most efficient self, that self that gets strikeouts in the zone, both swinging and looking, could see him, you do a whole lot more. And I only say this because Paul Skenes is the type of pitcher that I think could do literally anything. Let's see what he does tonight, if it's another changeup heavy night, or if we're going to see one of the breaking pitches finally take center stage. Thank you so much for listening to OffBeat here on North Shore 9, presented by FanDuel. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe wherever you find podcasts, or if you want to see my smiling face here in section 322 at PNC Park, check us out on YouTube. I'll have a new location next time. We just knocked out a couple of these podcasts in a row. That's why we're still in 322. But hey, we'll be back here soon enough. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk again tomorrow.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in, whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube. If you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.